Hello and welcome to another episode of A Brief History. Today's episode, Uncharted, brought to you by Sony. Ready, set, go. Santa Monica, California, 2004. Having recently released the final main series installment to their critically acclaimed Jak and Daxter series, game development company Naughty Dog assembles a new team within their staff to create their biggest adventure game yet, appropriately codenamed Project Big. This project was Naughty Dog's first ever endeavor onto the upcoming PlayStation 3, and they wanted to create a new IP to take advantage of the system's advanced hardware, retaining a bright, adventurous feel at a time when most new games were dark and dreary, while at the same time ditching the stylized cartoony look they have been known for in favor of more photorealistic graphics and characters. What eventually resulted from these efforts was Uncharted Drake's Fortune, a third-person action-adventure/shooter game released for PlayStation 3 on November 19th, 2007. The events of Drake's Fortune follow a young treasure hunter named Nathan Drake, a descendant of the legendary explorer Sir Francis Drake, who is searching for the lost treasure of El Dorado. He is joined by his partner in crime, Victor Sully Sullivan, who we later learn has acted as Nate's mentor and father figure ever since Nate was 15 years old. Also on the team is Elena Fisher, a TV journalist hoping to get the story of a lifetime by following Nate's journey,
but instead slowly finds that her real treasure was Nate himself. Coming November 19th, 2007, only on the Naughty Dog channel.
Anyway, it was now Nate's job and therefore your job to explore a dangerous island with your team, gun down pirates, solve puzzles, and scale massive buildings, all in your attempts to find the treasure of El Dorado before anyone else. Now, while none of these gameplay aspects were particularly innovative for the time, what Uncharted did was heavily polish and refine all of these aspects and wrap them up into what was at the time one of the most visually stunning games ever released. And it was these graphics mixed with the game's equally as impressive story, voice acting, motion capture animation, music, and gameplay that earned Uncharted Drake's Fortune an unbelievably positive reception from critics, scoring mostly 8 to 9 out of 10 from various sources. So of course, with the incredible success and impressive sales of Drake's Fortune, Naughty Dog jumped headfirst into development of a sequel. And on October 13th, 2009, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves was released for PlayStation 3. This time around, Sully decides to sit the majority of the adventure out, so our hero Nate is joined by a former girlfriend named Chloe Fraser, who aids Nate in finding the lost city of Shambhala and the legendary Jintamani Stone before the evil Russian warlord Zoran Lazarevich can use its fabled powers for his own gain. Not too long into their journey, they, oddly enough, stumble upon Elena, who has a strange habit of conveniently showing up pretty much everywhere Nate goes. Although Nate and Elena clearly ended up together at the end of Drake's Fortune, the events of Uncharted 2 take place following some sort of unknown breakup, as Nate now juggles two former love interests throughout his journey. One who wants Nate to focus on the job and stop playing the hero, and another who is more compassionate and heroic like Nate. Mix all of that with, well, this. And Nate certainly has a lot more to deal with this time around. So on top of obvious advancements like better graphics, deeper story, and new characters, Uncharted 2 greatly improved upon its predecessor through the addition of multiplayer, much more varied environments, and a far better balance of gameplay styles, leveling out the amount of gunplay and platforming. And all of these improvements paid off greatly in the end, for Uncharted 2 Among Thieves was met with universal critical acclaim, near perfect scores across the board, and over 200 Game of the Year awards. Fans and critics alike were touting the game as an immersive and beautiful experience that perfectly encapsulated the feeling of playing through a blockbuster film. So Naughty Dog were on a roll at this point, having smoothly made the transition into the 7th generation of consoles with, of all things, a new IP. And of course they were prepared to follow up, releasing Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception for PlayStation 3 on November 1st, 2011. Here we find Nate, Sully, Chloe, and an English fortune hunter named Charlie Cutter going up against a woman named Catherine Marlowe, who we see via flashbacks was an old client of Sully's who nearly had Nate killed 20 years prior, as they were both after the same treasure. Later on, Nate and Sully meet back up with Little Miss Convenient Elena, who we now see is married to Nate, yet oddly estranged. So yeah, spoiler for Uncharted 2, he goes for Elena. Anyway, we now find Nate on his most personal mission so far, searching for treasure, rekindling his marriage, and struggling with his somewhat selfish desire to outdo Marlowe at seemingly any cost. Following up under the massive shadow of Uncharted 2 would be a difficult task for any game, but Uncharted 3 very much got the job done and then some, bringing back the gunplay, platforming, epic story, and multiplayer, while also offering deeper melee combat and some of the trickiest puzzles in the franchise. All of which once again garnered near perfect review scores and gave the PS3's flagship franchise a fitting send-off for that generation. However, with the main series now on hold, as Naughty Dog further pushed work on their next new project, The Last of Us, Uncharted actually didn't go away at all. For on February 14th, 2012, Sony Computer Entertainment and Bend Studios released Uncharted Golden Abyss for the PlayStation Vita to generally positive reviews. This game was then followed up on December 4th, 2012 by Uncharted Fight for Fortune, a strategic card game spin-off for the PS Vita, also from Bend Studios. And outside of the AAA gaming world, the original Uncharted trilogy has gone on to inspire comic books, a novel, novel, a board game, motion comics, and even an online game that used Google Maps. Which, I mean, let's be honest, that one was a little weird. But it would not be until November 14th, 2013 that Naughty Dog would announce one of the most highly anticipated games for the PlayStation 4, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Slated for release on March 18th, 2016, Uncharted 4 will find a now retired Nathan Drake living a quiet, normal life with Elena. All seems well until the day that Nate's long-lost and presumed dead brother Sam shows up, desperately seeking Nate's help. However, in order to save his brother, Nate would have to come out of retirement and get back into the treacherous world of fortune hunting one last time. This is an incredibly difficult decision for Nate to make, but ultimately he decides to come out of retirement and aid his brother. Too bad he never told Elena about any of this. What follows has been promised to be Nathan Drake's greatest adventure yet, battling the inner demons of his past, testing his physical limits, and pushing his relationships to the breaking point. So clearly a large part of Uncharted 4's story is going to be Nathan Drake's growth as a character and how he's evolved over the years that have passed. And because of this, Naughty Dog enlisted the help of Blue Point Games to remaster all three of the previous Uncharted games into one package for PS4 known as Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection. Recently released on October 9th, 2015, this compilation aims not only to allow fans and newcomers to experience enhanced versions of these three classic games, but also to act as a standalone experience that tells the full story of Nathan Drake so far. From fighting pirates in the Amazon in Uncharted 1, all the way to Nate's solitary trek through the desert in Uncharted 3, Nathan Drake's story is that of one young treasure hunter who has been both loved and betrayed more times than he can keep track of, all the while encountering adventures that no other man could even imagine. Nathan Drake began his journey as a lonely teenager, but through all of his plights, he has found a family of his own in his friends, and he has risked everything for them multiple times. In a way, Uncharted is and always has been about this lost kid fighting his way through a fun and exciting yet hard and dangerous life. It's the story of a man with a hunger for not treasure, or at least not just treasure, but adventure. Seeing new sights, meeting new people, in varying circumstances, and finding answers to some of the most ancient of mysteries. And it is this story, mixed with Naughty Dog's trademark graphical prowess and engaging gameplay, that has made the Uncharted series such a massive hit, having made a massive impact on the modern gaming industry. And even after the series reaches its end with Uncharted 4, it's easy to see that Uncharted's influence will continue to shape the gaming world for a long time. Thanks for watching, guys. DFTBA. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my Uncharted video, and I hoped you liked it. Real quick, I want to give a great big thank you to Sony for sponsoring this episode and allowing me to spend several minutes talking about one of my favorite video game franchises of all time. Also, if you would like to learn even more about Uncharted, you can click on this link to check out the newest episode of Did You Know Gaming that's all about Uncharted and hosted by myself. I also talk in a pretty calm tone of voice throughout the whole thing, so if you want to hear that, you should check it out as well. But anyway, that's all I got for you this time, so once again, thanks for watching, guys. DFTBA.